It's never easy to cast a child actor. It might take months or years to find the perfect person to embody a specific role, especially when an entire movie has to hang on a young actor's shoulders. It's an almost impossible task, but sometimes someone walks in the casting office who seems to have leapt right out of the script. In the case of Max Fischer, that actor was Jason Schwartzman. In Matt Zollerseitz's terrific book, The Wes Anderson Collection, Anderson talks about the long road to find the main character of his second film, Rushmore. We'd searched for a long, long time. I had a few people in mind, but nobody where I felt like, here. Nobody where I left the room and said, we got it. There were a few where I said, well, maybe this one. But when Jason arrived, I did have that feeling, just seconds after we started talking. When he did the scene, I thought, nobody's done it like this. We were kind of friends immediately. And the thing is, the movie, in the end, well, it's his face and it's his voice, and his personality is very distinctive. So, in the end, it's our words, but it's him. That's what it is. And what you remember when you remember the movie is just as much how he moves when he walks across the room. We did this long search and we discovered a special person who has every reason in the world to be in the movies. In the film, Schwartzman plays oddball high school student Max Fischer, who's good at starting dozens of clubs but not great at focusing on academics. Instead, he gets caught up in a love triangle between a steel tycoon and a British teacher at his school. At 17 years old, Schwartzman's a natural. He does a terrific job balancing Max's immaturity.
I'm just trying to figure out why you brought this gentleman to my play. And my dinner, which was invitation only.
With his open-hearted sincerity.
Well, you pulled it off.
Yeah, it went okay. At least nobody got hurt.
Except you.
No, I didn't get hurt that bad.
He makes the movie work, but Rushmore was never a sure thing. It only works as well as it does because of the pitch-perfect casting. Their next collaboration occurs 9 years later with the short film Hotel Chevalier. The short itself technically serves as a prologue for the Darjeeling Limited, but I think it's best viewed as a standalone work. It's noticeable that Schwartzman has grown a lot since Rushmore, and, in the role of Jack Whitman, projects a sense of heartache and sadness his 17-year-old self would be incapable of. There's not much of a plot. It mainly concerns a man holding himself up in a Parisian hotel, seemingly trying to hide from his life. A former lover shows up unexpectedly and they reconnect. It's Wes Anderson's only real effort at flirting with eroticism, and he crafts some beautiful images of his two actors. The whole thing is intimate, graceful, and darker than Anderson's usual aesthetic. In my opinion, it's a triumph. Next, Schwartzman reprises his role of Jack in the Darjeeling Limited feature, and this time he has a co-writing credit on the script. The darker tone of Hotel Chevalier lingers in Darjeeling, but the focus shifts to encompass Jack's two brothers, played by Adrian Brody and Owen Wilson. While Schwartzman shines in the short film, he blends into the background a little more here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, Anderson films typically get their energy from a balanced ensemble. Collaboration number 4 gets animated, with Fantastic Mr. Fox. Schwartzman plays Ash Fox, Mr. Fox's son. Ash as a character is similar to Max Fischer if Max didn't write any plays, and his obsession with Rushmore Academy turned into an obsession with the comic book character White Cape. In short, Ash is petty and immature. He can't tolerate his cousin Christopherson coming to live with him, especially when Christopherson is preternaturally talented at almost any given pursuit. Ash eventually learns to live with his cousin, but not before a handful of childish outbursts. Schwartzman's next role in an Anderson film is his brief role as Cousin Ben in Moonrise Kingdom. Cousin Ben, an adult scout leader, appears toward the end of the film and performs a non-legally binding ritual of love for the two young leads of the film, played by Jared Gilman and Cara Hayward. Cousin Ben isn't too far off from a character in a Max Fischer play. He wears aviator sunglasses and speaks in a short, militaristic clip. He even invokes The Godfather,
Take the carbon, leave the Bible.
calling to mind Max's interest in 70s crime films. Alas, I'll be the first to admit that this next project may not exactly fit squarely in the Wes Anderson canon. It's a short film financed by Prada, and the plot, characters, and themes are pretty slight. Schwartzman plays a Formula One race car driver named Jed Cavalcanti, who literally crashes into his ancestral homeland. Schwartzman's good in the role, but Hotel Chevalier this is not. Collab number 7 is more or less a cameo. In the Grand Budapest Hotel, Schwartzman plays Monsieur Jean, the concierge of the Grand Budapest at the beginning of the film. This section of the story is a frame narrative featuring Jude Law's author meeting an older version of Zero Mustafa played by F. Murray Abraham. Most of the movie is a flashback to Zero's childhood, but Schwartzman's quite good in his few moments of screen time. Old Mustafa isn't so charmed by his character though.
He's perfectly capable, of course, Monsieur Jean. But we can't claim he's a first, or in earnest, even second-rate concierge. But there it is.
Monsieur Jean perfectly sets up the faded nature of the hotel and serves as a terrific contrast to Ray Fiennes' meticulous Monsieur Gustave. Next up is Anderson's second stop-motion feature, Isle of Dogs. Schwartzman doesn't voice the character in the film, but he does have a story by credit on the script, as well as the upcoming The French Dispatch. In the new film, Schwartzman plays Hermes Jones, who's credited as a cartoonist and member of the French Dispatch staff. Although there's not much known about the size and scope of his role in the film since it hasn't been released yet, Anderson clearly values Schwartzman as a key creative collaborator. And that brings us to the end of Schwartzman's Andersonian journey. I'm positive the journey will continue, probably until they are both old men making each other laugh in a voiceover booth. But I'm sure they'll always remember their first meeting, when Wes Anderson looked up and saw Max Fischer walk into a casting office. If you'd like more videos about directors and their child actors turned co-writers, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on this channel. And, as always, the Sarris wheel spins on.